Very well. If you're not familiar with this, you need to know that in management, we have a tool that helps us and allows us to look at the people that are being entrusted to me or to you. So let's say that you are a manager and that you are in charge of a group of people. It could be 2 people. It could be half a dozen people. It could be large amount of people. The largest group of people that I managed was 110 people. That includes all my supervisors that worked for me at the time, all of the leaders, all of the shifts. And I think that I was in Purdue, right, Gary? There were a lot of people. And of course, I had to do that. So what's the performance cycle? Excuse me, anybody ask a question? No? So the question is, what is this performance cycle consist? From the beginning, the first step in this cycle is to set goals and expectations. That's something that we're going to be discussing tonight. And then it will be on an ongoing review and feedback that helps him or her, and helps you check and balance if the goal is on site and is right on target and it's not going to crash. And then at the end of that, the third part of this cycle is the appraisal and the reward. Pay attention specifically on the reward, because when you set the expectations, part of your expectations will be that you will have to tell the people that are working for you, this is what the bonuses consist. You need to be clear about that, okay? Because if the employee thinks that he's going to get automatically a bonus, which is whatever percentage of what your salary is, they need to understand that that bonus is based on performance. So it is good that you need to make that clear. If you work 50% of your time and you're not good, you're going to get 50% of the bonus, whatever that is. Okay, so what are the rules? What is it that you as a leader need to be prepared to do before you have that important meeting with your new employee? After the new employee gets into the company and is went through the process of hiring and they are investigating, typically HR will give you at least 3 months, 90 days of what they call the period of probation. At that time, they're going to look at you. They're going to see how you perform. If you're a good performer, if you're not, they're going to be, looking at what is it that is wrong. So during those 3 months, he and you're going to talk to them and express all the information that you need from them and the expectations that you have about them. And then you're also going to be able to talk about all the benefits that he will receive, training, et cetera, et cetera. And don't forget, when everybody gets in the company for the first time, the first thing that they will have to do is either view a video or the safety officer will come and talk to them. Please make sure and re-emphasize in your people clearly that you need to talk to them about safetyness. And safety, because it's important for you to know that if you're working in an environment where there is a lot of air conditioning units, a lot of air conditioning warehouses, a lot of that is, and many companies have then tons of liquid ammonia in their buildings. And you need to be aware of that. If you have a leak, the supervisor needs to know, what is those windsocks doing on the roof? Is because if the wind is blowing towards the front gate, you don't evacuate your people that way, or you all will end up in the hospital. You will have to evacuate running against the wind, and evacuate, you will decide what door to take. So all those expectations are subjects that you need to talk to them. Now, How do you prepare for that first one-on-one meeting that you're going to have with this new employee, brand new, that came up to your building? Well, you need to observe what we call the 4 C's: clarity, communication, consistency, and commitment. Clarity is very important, because I'm going to tell you something. If you as a leader don't know exactly what to expect from the guy, no matter how much you will talk to them, you're not going to succeed, because you need to have in your mind clarity of what you want that person to do. Okay? So that's important. Once you have that formulated in your mind and you know what that person is going to be doing and where do you think that you can use it. Remember, this person you already interviewed, okay? And that person will have to come on board, and you will read the resume or, the vitae, and you know what he's good about it in your mind. You know where you're going to be using them. So get clarity on what your expectation will be. Number 2, communications. You need to be clear communicating these things. You cannot afford not to, because later on, if you are dissatisfied with the fact that that person is not performing, before you look into his performance, ask. Get another meeting immediately and ask, what was it that you can do to become to review that expectation that you set it the first time? How can you clear more questions in his mind, so it will be no questions that it is not him, it is you, okay? And if it is him, what a great time to empathically begin your coaching career, because you are going to be coaching him. Okay, don't you think that because he's got 90 days of probation, you can get rid of him? No, that's not the issue. The issue is you can make him better. That's the goal, okay? The consistency, well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing more significant than being consistency in agreements. So what is the key for consistency? Well, the key for consistency is very simple. You need to create an action plan that will be prepared prior to the meeting. In fact, a week before his first day of work. And you need to lay it down in places and lay it down with commitments and dates that you may want to assign this job to him. And you will tell him, I'm going to come back and I'm expecting you to do this for 2 months. If you need help, please come back and talk to me, and I can help you get there. So you need to be consistency, and there's no other better consistency tool than an action plan. That is like a contract that at the end of this expectations being set, at the end of it, you will be signing, and he will be signing this internal contract between you and him. So we are all in the same page. The last one is commitment. Well, seeking commitment and agreements is part of your action plan, okay? Why? Because you're going to be monitoring the progress, and you're going to need adjusting the progress, as needed. You will be the only person that will be able to say, I don't see no action in 2 weeks. I told him to do this in a week. What is going on? So don't use I am a manager that have an open door, because that door is never going to open until you establish trust with him or her. Remember that. So what do you do as a manager in the commitment part of it? Part of your commitment is going outside. Go to the office of that person, go to the maintenance building where he works, go to the teller where he is working, and talk to him. You need to use that as a communication tool. Hello, how are you? How are you today? Having a good day? It doesn't take much to use that type of empathy to break the ice and begin the communication, that it must be a two-way communication, not just you, both of you. And that is something to reaffirm and to talk to them and being available, to that person when you need to talk to them. The employee benefits, well, it's very simple. It provides awareness. And when you talk to them, you are going to be basically creating this awareness environment in where you're going to be building an action plan that he now is aware he is committing to do, or she is committing to do. Okay? It establishes a baseline. What's that means? Well, it will help you to establish how he's going to get from point A to point B, and how is he going to do it. And you may want to decide at the time and asking, because there's nothing wrong with asking your employee, would you feel more comfortable if we meet every quarter to see how you're doing? Or would you prefer to do it every week if you need me to tell you and to share with you what do we need to do to overcome any type of issues? Okay, so it enhances your communications. It also empowers your employee. Why? Because when you have this one-on-one meeting, there is where he is going to be able to speak up and be safe. When are you planning your vacation? Some people don't get a lot of vacation until they get it, unfortunately, until they get it, let me see, after 1 year. Most people don't do that. If our Zoom disconnected, please let me know. And thank you, Carlos. So creates a reference point, and that meeting will be your turning point. It begins from that point on. It doesn't matter anymore how bad was he or what mistakes, because remember, this employee is going to meet with you every so often, and then the following year that employee will be second year employee, and now he's coming back. Now you know how well he performs and how well he is in communicating. So it provides a way for him to break the ice and begin that relationship that every leader must use, must have, and must utilize in especially now in days like the pandemic. That's needed. Okay, any questions until here? Let's move on then to the one-on-one meeting. Many people need to understand that the one-on-one meetings not only establish a communication with your employee, but establish achievable expectations. What that means, because we both are going to be talking about what are we going to do. And this goes also for the people that work in sales. Listen, the people that work in sales, they do have a different type of expectations. Some of them, if they're managers, they will have other small supervisors doing the sales connections. But if you were to be one of them, who are you setting expectations from? You will be receiving the expectations of your clients, of your customers. And it's important to have feedback from them. It is nothing wrong with having conversations with your clients and asking them, Joe, why don't you tell me what can I do better to help you being successful? Maybe he will say, you know what, guys, I appreciate that you want my feedback. You can deliver it a lot faster. Okay, write it down. Those are expectations that your clients now feel about you. Okay, so this communication with employees become the essential part of your job and the first step to knowing your direct reports. It's very important. It's the first contact with them. So remember that your communication needs to be clear and committed. Explain to the employee the importance of this meeting. Just like I'm telling you this, when you talk to them in a one-on-one, you can tell them, Gary, and this meeting is very important for both of us because it will help me being better and be a better facilitator of what you need for you to be successful. Remember that you're a leader, and what a better way to be if you're not a servant leader. You're there not to demand. You're there not to push. You're there to teach and conquer his success, because his or her success will be yours as well. Okay, so building the plan of action. Begin by building that plan of action. Start with the big picture. Okay, how leaders start with a big picture. Begin your plan by talking to them about the business direction. If you work for Wells Fargo, which is a bank, the goal of us is to be the banker or the bank for everybody in this neighborhood. So you can begin with that big picture. In my case, I probably would say, this is the big picture. My goal is that we are going to increase the sale of coffee by 20% by the end of the year, something like that. Or for those that work in the industry, like Gary does, our goal is to have no leaks this year and bring that leaks down to the safety metric that shows that we are a safe building, managing a safe environment, and depends up to you and me. And we're going to put a plan, and we're going to be going section by section, inspecting everything, checking all the pressure relief valves that will help us if we ever have any overpressure, that type of things. I hope you all understand that part and understand that, because it's very much a safety issue. Be sure that your goals are the right goals. Oh, my Lord, that is important. As you are presenting to your employee in the action plan, what is the goal of your group? You also need to understand that your goals and his goals are on the same page. You both in a different level, of course, because you're managing them, must be in alignment. Because if your goal is a different thing and his goal is a different thing, and you both are going to depart from each other, and there will be no success, okay? So make sure that the goals are the right goals, okay? And of course, it is also important for you to seek constant feedback from him. And if he doesn't require you to have a meeting every week, that's fine. You can always go out and check with them. Hi, how are you? Pull him on the side, and how's everything going? How's your family? Are you taking care of your family? Good. That's what you need to do. Remember, God, family, work. I know that many of us are workaholics, and we are always work. Oh yeah, if I have time, I'll take the wife for dinner. Oh well, if it's Sunday, well, we go to church. Maybe not. No, the process is God, family, and then work. So you require constant feedback. Go talk to them. Go talk to and ask them. So how's it going? How do you like it so far? That type of feedback that will begin to build a complete trust environment. I can bet all you want, your first salary, that people will come to you when they are in stress, when they have problems at home, and so forth. And it's good to facilitate and to help, and be very careful when you do those things, because are also people that abuse the systems, and you don't want that to happen. Remember, building trust is not for him just to trust you, it's for you to trust him too. So, okay. Before we go on to the second part, I want to ask if you have any questions. Hello, Christine.
Hi, Dr. Pineda. How are you?
Oh, how good to see you. It's been a
Hi,
while.
hi everyone.
Yeah. There's Carlos. There's Gary. My wife Lily is listening to you. We have a pastor with us, Pastor Dajalma. Would you say
Wonderful.
hello to Christine? And of course, we also have Victor with us, Victor Sedamano. This is Christine. She is the formal uh, chairman or president of the National uh, Society of Leadership and Success. And we're very happy to have you here, Christine. Thank you.
Excited to be here. No
Yeah.
problem.
So far, so good. Do you catch this? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna send this video out there.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to what are your leaders' expectations. Now, before we move into this one, you need to understand that there's a two-way street. Okay, and this is what we're going to explain. You know, because when you learn what's important for your boss, you understand what the company is looking for, and it will help meet those expectations. That's what I mean. Your goals and his goals, and then your goal and your direct report goals, they all need to be aligned. Okay. What I expect from my reports? My expectations. Well, in order to do this, you need to get involved. You need to get involved quickly. The following behaviors are powerful individuals that take together. So what it is it is for you to be ready to get involved as soon as you feel a process. Good managers and good leaders can sense their people's problems. The only way that you can do that is with empathy. So here, emotional intelligent lovers, you need to use those competencies. You need to be self-aware of what's going on around you. And then you need to use empathy to be able to see what is bothering, what the problem is. Okay. Falling behind commitments is one sign, and you need to get involved right away. Okay. Joe, we said that you were going to be leaving your shop, your area clean, your desk clean every day after you use the facility, and we're not seeing that. Is there any way that I can do uh, so I can help you? You know, but you need to get involved. Now, when there's important matters that arise in your people, and you don't know them until you come back to them, okay, you need to approach them. You need to really be very empathetic for them. Hopefully, at this point, you use your empathy so good that they will come to talk to you. But if they don't, and you see that he's distracted, that he's missing in adding or subtracting, or they're missing on doing overalls equipments, and you're missing I don't know, a washer that is now creating leaks, you know that there's a problem. You need to get involved immediately, because you don't know if it is a performance, or you don't know that it may be something important that has arisen in the life of this individual. Okay. And of course, in a crisis, if it's too late and now we have a big crisis, you really need to get involved. Okay. At that point, please get involved no matter what, and begin investigating. And remember, this is the time that you take your management hat off and you put your coaching hat on. What a better time for you to begin worrying and helping and facilitating whatever your employee needs. Okay? Now, you also generate ideas. Good leaders generate ideas, innovative ideas, hopefully. So you can present an idea, no matter how bad or good it is, you can communicate with your people and basically explain to them, hey guys, I have this idea that I think it may work, okay? And I need your feedback because I think and I believe that we can make this idea better. And you know what? You may give me a better idea. So why don't we talk about this? So you need to constantly generate ideas and seek feedback. You also need to be willing to collaborate. How do you do that? Well, collaboration, everybody knows that. Being collaborative means being always in constant communication. For instance, I have the commitment to give leaders of this nation all of the information possible. And I'm doing it today, and we do it free because I believe that there's very smart leaders, very responsible leaders that need this. And sometimes, for whatever reason, they cannot achieve classes, or their company doesn't facilitate this. And then everybody think, well, you know, they are really consultants and $100 an hour. Well, we don't charge $100 an hour. We will never charge nothing like that. But there is that perception in the world. So you need to be willing to be a collaborative person. How do you do that? Again, is part of your emotional intelligence part. You need to learn how to manage your emotions. And you then need to come in frankly and openly and managing those emotions, be there for them. That's how you can be a collaborative person with them. And tell them, what do you need? If it is something technical, let me show you, here's the library, and you can get information on PLCs right here, and you can read it. Take your time. Don't go to the floor. Read it today, and then if you have any questions, ask me. You're being collaborative with that person, okay? Or procedures, if you're coaching a teller in a bank, you also need to be going up there and observe and watch. And maybe you need to talk to them and tell them, you know what, the next time probably may not be a bad idea if you become a little more friendly with the clients. After all, we get paid because they bank with us. Okay, that type of thing that you can do. Be willing to lead initiatives. Please, leaders, understand this portion. This part is very important. I don't know if anybody had that example, but I have one that doesn't even need to be called or said or explained today. But if one of your people, one of your direct reports come to you and tell you, hey, Rick, can we have a meeting every week and put a session called a think tank, and we can all contribute it so we can put in a schedule of who cleans what every week in the shop, or who does this, you know, do not turn them down. You need to be willing to lead initiatives and to accept initiatives as well. Okay? And for all that matter, please don't go to your boss and say, look what I think about it, when really was Joe Blow, the guy that says, that's my idea. You're a leader, so you need to promote that initiative and give Caesar what's belong to Caesar. You need to tell them, you know what, James thought about this. I think it's a great idea, boss. If you give us the time and the space, and maybe you can separate a conference room for me, I will really appreciate it. 100%, I can assure you that the leader of that executive manager said, I think it's a great idea. Why don't you use conference room 1 and do it every Friday or every Thursday? He will do that. You know why? Because I did that, and they said, I think it's a great idea. Use the conference room. And I use it every week. Okay, so that's important. Develop leaders as you develop. This is important as well. Okay, as you teaching them, you are also absorbing and you are learning about people, because people are very difficult to deal with many times, and people are very difficult to understand. Then you really need to be very patient and need to treat everyone the way you want to be treated. You want respect, you need to give respect. So leader, remember that. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and always choose to do the right things. Those are the two golden keys, okay? The golden rules. And for crying out loud, don't judge everything wrong immediately unless you have data, okay? Unless you have true data. Not, he told me that you were doing this. No, that doesn't count. You need to go and verify, and then come and call and talk. And knowing the problem, you need to address it, and you need to help them. You need to help them overcome, because something is motivating that behavior. Okay? All right. So that is what I expect from my reports. Now, what do my reports expect from me? Oh, my Lord. Well, I think I just told you most of the things that they will be looking for. Okay? So you need to provide clarity of direction. So when you talk to them, providing the clear expectation and make sure that they understood that. That's why you're going to write it in your plan, in your action plan, your small contract. Okay? So provide clear direction. Your yes is yes, your no is no. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pastor, but that is biblical, isn't it? Make your yeses yes and your no no's. So it is important for you to give that type of direction. Clear, concise, and effectively. You need to set goals and objectives. Okay? And your reports expect that from you. If you're going to go up there and you're a leader that is overwhelmed with schedules, and oh my God, in about 30 minutes, I need to talk to Frank. He is new, and I need to tell him, let me see. Okay, his resume says that he is a good electrician. Okay, I'm going to tell him that. And then you walk in there without preparation, and you tell him, okay, I want you to take charge of all the electrical panels and clean them. That's not a goal. That's something that probably needs to be done, and you cannot charge one person to do that. You need to call all electricians. You need to set up priorities. You need to look seniority. You need to look at how they want it. It's better yet, you need to get them together and tell them, gentlemen, why don't you tell me how you want to resolve this problem? Every time I go to the floor and I open an electrical panel, I see tons of junk and cables flying left and right. So you need to tell me what your plan is. And you, Jim, being the senior person, need to really create that environment and tell me, how do you guys want to schedule the cleanup of these things before I tell you how to do it. So go ahead, come back to me in 3 days with a plan. That's it. You just set up a goal and an objective, and you are telling them, you're making them think. And remember, you're there to develop them. You remember what we said here? Developing employees is that cycle that you see there. So what are you doing when you're setting expectations, when you're reviewing and getting feedback, and when you're going to give an appraisals? You're developing that particular employee. So you really need to be setting those goals and objectives clear to them. Give frequent, specific, and immediate feedback. I think it's important. I think a long time ago we spoke about this feedback, that you send something and it comes back, and then you review your idea, shape it better, and you send them again. The more feedback you get, the better you are, and the most successful your employee will be, and you will also be. Be decisive and timely. When you say that must be done by so-and-so, hold them accountable for that. Otherwise, they will have very little disregard for commitments, and you need to create that habit on them. You need to be firm on that. I did not say you need to be an anarchic leader. You just need to be firm. There's a difference between being firm and not being firm. So being firm is when you, let me give you an example. When you're a parent and you want him to, or her, or both to be at home by 10. The first time they come at 10:30, you need to tell them, tomorrow or the next time you go out, you will not be allowed to be going until 10. You will be going until 9. By that, no, you broke the rule, and there are consequences to the rule. That doesn't mean I don't love you. That means you need to learn discipline. And you need to discipline because life is discipline. So that's the kind of example I want you to be. Be decisive and timely. Be accessible. Again, you don't need to wait for them to come. You can go to them and be there for them. Be accessible when they have problems. Be accessible when they have no problems at all. But try to be accessible to them and communicate to them that you're there to facilitate and to help. Also, you need to demonstrate honesty and candor. Make sure that your employee detects you as an honest person. Pay attention, because that employee will come back the following year, and you promise them that you're going to give them a 5% raise, and you're not sure. And it doesn't happen because your boss doesn't give you that much because the company was not good. Be prepared, because he will perceive you as an honest person. And the first thing that he's going to do, or she's going to do, when they take a break among employees is talk about you and say, that guy, he's not honest. He lied to me. Remember that. So people are that way. Try to be as firm and solid and candor. Often offer an equitable compensation plan. Okay? Explain to them that, because a lot of people, they don't talk about this, and then after a while it becomes a problem. Boss, you told me I was going to get 12%. 12% of $50,000 or $70,000 a year is this much, and I'm receiving a check for only $2,000. That's the feedback you're getting, because on your first meeting you were not clear to explain to them that bonus, that extra is based on performance, and they need to perform to get 100% of that bonus. It happened to you. It happened to me. It happened to all of us. And now it's time to put a remedy to that by being up front on the first meeting. So at the end, you need to sit down with one-on-one, and you need to know in your mind and in your plan, because hopefully you have a group of people, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 like I did, and you need to find out the dates where they started. Look at their seniorities, and based on the seniority, the amount of budget that comes from that cake, the big one, you need to say, okay, the one with more seniority, we're going to give him, 15%. The other guy is going to be 14%, and so forth. And make sure that you do that. You know why? Because after that don't ever think that they will never talk among each other to see how much bonus they got, because they do. And don't be surprised if one of them come to you and say, boss, I'm sorry, but I have 3 years more than that guy, and you gave him so much. Why not me? It will happen. So you need to give an equitable amount of compensation in the compensation plan to them. Remember, is bound to happen, so try to do that. Any questions before we enter to section 3? If you have an example, please share with us. We'd like to hear what's in there.
Ricardo,
Yes.
I also think what they expect from us when we are setting these expectations is the support. What kind of support they will have from us? What will be available for them? That is very important for the employees.
Yeah. The expectations that they require are, this is what I said. It is a two-way communication. It's a two-way flow. And you if I understand you correctly, you're saying that they are also expecting that from us, right? Right, Carlos? That is why you need to get involved fairly quickly. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct on that. Very well. Any other questions? Very well. Performance beyond expectations. Okay. The ultimate test of a transformational leader is the ability to raise up a new generation of leaders. So it's all in good, in good, it's always in good feeling to do that. Pull the people and make them better than you. When those leaders become better than you, you've done the job. Okay? So what is a transformational leader? Well, the transformational leader has an additive effect when a transformational leader accomplishes 4 performance as a leader. There's 4 type of performance that the leader needs to combine, needs to perform. There's some researchers that think that only one will make you a good transformational leader. Another group of researchers says that all 4 will make a true transformational leader, and so forth. In reality, either one. You can have 1 or 2, but better to have 4. So try always to do the 4 that will give you the performance beyond expectations. That is going to help you moving ahead and moving in a better position, because one thing is to meet expectations, but when you're targeted to exceed that expectations, this is the kind of additive effect that you need to do as a leader, so your superiors, the supervisors that also have their own bonuses and so forth, also will like to put on you and see if you are stimulating your people, if you are always considering them, if you are a true motivator, and how much you influence on them. Okay? Why? Because that is what provides you with a excellent performance that takes you beyond expectations. Okay? Intellectual stimulation. You need to be a person that inject, that stimulate in your people, that is always motivating them, but more than motivating, you're injecting in them your energy. And how do you do that? Well, we have talked about much about the leading by example. A lot of people tell me, what do they mean by leading by example? Transformational leaders regularly challenge assumptions. They take risk, okay? And solicit team members' inputs and ideas. So you need to be there because the results of your go about it foster innovation and critical thinking to challenge assumptions. Okay, so you really need to consider without any type of fear or failure or whatever, you need to consider become creative and incentive them to become also creative with you. And together, remember the example I gave you before, innovating together, you can stimulate them by telling them your ideas. You stimulate them. You can say, oh my God, my boss is into something. How can I do better? Because that's how humans are. That's how we are. You know, when my boss used to come to me and say, hey, we're going to do this. This year, we're going to have a Christmas party. And we're going to have it in the conference room. And each of the employees are going to be bringing a dish. And we're going to celebrate together in that conference room. He may say to me, that's a great idea, Rick. But I have a better idea. Oh, why don't we organize it and bring the whole entire organization and have the people from logistic and financial and share with them our, you know what? That's very stimulating. And you need to listen to that. And if that is a better idea, why not taking it? So consider that. Why? Because you become a very good transformational leader. Leaders are always thought about being energetic, anarchic people. No, you are not that way. You can gain a lot more by being a very empathetic person and use your emotional intelligence to get you there. Okay. You also need to be individualized consideration. Why? Because transformational leaders listen to employees' concern and the needs of them to provide adequate support. Remember, these results are for leaders who act as coaches and give recognition to the staff. So remember that. Always going out there and, good job, Rick. You're doing good. It doesn't take much to say that. You can't believe you will be the subject of conversation in his dinner or her dinner's table. You know what? My boss think I'm doing a good job. Okay? Inspirational motivation. Why? Because it promotes trust, involvement, and cooperation among the team members. So you need to really be an inspirational by motivating people. Transformational leaders can articulate and unify visions that encourage teams members to really set them up to exceed expectations. So you need to be the principal motivator. You need to be that motivator. And when you see one of in your team, one of them taking charge, well, that person that takes charge is your brand new leader coming up. And you need to give them the freedom, and empower him or her to take charge and take over and get in the meetings and start the meetings without you being there, because a sign of a good leader and a good transformational leader is that even if you're not with them, they continue doing things like you like to be done. So it is important. You are the inspirational and the motivator of that. And of course, the influence. Okay. As far as that, you need to remember that because we are role models. And you need to remember that when you manipulate and maneuver all this for, you are on your way to performance beyond expectations. Now, many people have asked me, do I have to be in all four of them? Sometimes two of them will do it, and you will be also going beyond expectations. Not a maximum performance, but you will be a performer, all right. Because successfully transformational leaders have common traits. The traits that successful transformational leaders have in common are the following. Good transformational leaders practice self-awareness. Hello? Self-awareness? Emotional intelligence? They remain open-minded. Okay? They are adaptable. They are not only innovators, but they embrace innovators. If you know what I mean. They listen to their people. And don't ever forget, as you lead these good people, that transformational leaders lead with a lot of humility. Okay? If you set the clear job expectations, if you monitor the progress, if you provide them feedback, then you're holding your employees what? Accountable. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, me too. Section 4. Now, what do we do to practice great performance? We're coming to an end of this presentation with these finals. Meeting expectation is good. No doubt about it, says Dr. Hoffman. But exceeding expectations is better. Okay? So, setting higher expectations, and I divided in all 4 slides. You need to involve your employees. Managers need to find out what employees think of the proposed expectations. So you need to get them involved. Don't just sit down with them and explain to them what. You get them involved, give them the freedom to even tell you that it is a better way to reach out those things. So you need to really practice that, okay? You need to be confident that you're going to reach good results. Begin with, what do you think? You know what? It opens the doors to success, okay? You set benchmarks to measure progress. And of course, you push for adjustments to ensure the company's success. If I were you, when the employee is new, I would meet with them every 2 weeks to give them time to breathe. And a second meeting in 2 weeks doesn't mean that you're going to load more jobs to him. No, you're going to go through those jobs and you're going to tell them, I'm here to help. What do you need me to do for you to become successful? Okay, so set up the benchmark to measure the progress, and you push to ensure that the company has success. So every 2 weeks, and then every 2 weeks, and then after that, it could be once a month, and then after that, it could be every 6 weeks, is every quarter, every 3 months. And then it turns into a biannual. Yeah, by then, the employee probably has 6-7 years with you. And then the annual. Now, the annual meeting is a must annual meeting. You have to have it because that is when you give him his appraisal. Normally, companies do this. They pick up the appraisal forms and they give it to you. And they tell you, I want you to grade yourself and bring it back to me within the next week or so. So they are going to grade themselves because what a better person to really look for that than you being the judgment. Okay? Number 2, focus on the achievements. Employees need to understand what is expected of them. That is something that needs to be done. Okay, so that's why you are going to stay focused in your goals when you talk to them. Employee must see the defined objectives as realistic and achievable. Well, if you are setting a goal and this person says, my God, but Rick, how am I supposed to do that? You know that it's achievable, so teach him. Teach him and they will see and they will follow that. I think so, because we're not losing it. So, well, the next one is you need to boost employees' self-efficacy. by breaking up significant tasks. So if a task is to do something that is going to take him a year, please break it down. Don't just give him the whole goal. You need to set up their work, and you need to plan it with him, with his feedback. You can also help him by telling him, I want you to look at so-and-so and look at their skill, because he's a very skillful person. And if you're a mechanic that is going to be needed to replace valves or to overhaul motors, I want you to talk to Phil. Phil is our expert. Learn from him, all you need to do. And then you call Phil and make him his mentor, his coaching, and always expressing employees' confidence. So when you do these things, you need to tell them, I am confident that you can do that. And if you cannot do that, you need to tell me, I will help you achieve your goal. Remember that. The third one is you need to build measurements to meet goals. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We set up email. Now, set up an email system. Okay? That's how you measure your progress. You can communicate results to the team 2 ways. 2 crucial messages. Address alienating customers immediately and raise expectations and set them. What does that mean? Well, how can you build a measurement to meet goals? When you set up a email system surveying, okay, remember, this is what you're going to do. You're going to send them every month or every 6 months or every year a survey automatically to them, in where you're going to communicate the results of the team. And you're going to send 2 crucial messages. You need to address alienated customers immediately, and you need to raise expectations and set them. So when you send this surveying, you need to get ready to receive that feedback. And it doesn't need to go outside your group. Okay? Some managers that manage a half a dozen people in one word spreadsheet, they write down, what do you think about the performance of the group? Number 2, what are your expectations for the next year? Number 3, are you happy with your team? What can we do, your team, that we can do better? That needs to be sent, and it will give you a much better sense of your metric, if you are willing or going or in the right direction or not. Managers must constantly notice, affirm, and express thanks for high performance. Always. Don't take the credit. Let them take the credit in front of your bosses. Bring it to them. Tell them their achievement to your boss, and your boss better, reward that. And I said reward, meaning thank you. You're an excellent employee for us. And listen, when your year review comes, you're going to receive a big chunk of the bonus. 4th, motivate your employees, okay? People are motivated to fulfill expectations based on their interests. Both participants has higher stakes driving for top performance. Both participates, okay? The assessment results will help employees to realize their career potential. Believe me, out of all this, when the employee reads this, he is going to say to himself, "Hi, George, I never thought I can do that." Oh, you can do that, and you can win. You can definitely do that and win, okay? So managers and employees can define what's going well and which assets they're going to draw from. Very well. This is our final thoughts. Setting clear expectation means communicating what your team can expect from you, their support level, and their goals. Using emotional intelligence competence. Oh, by George, that is very important. Now you're going to need it more than ever. Okay? And it will help you to become the transformational leader that you want to be, that I like to be, that everybody wants to be. The reality is that setting expectation is an ongoing dynamic process because leaders and followers situations constantly dynamically changes. And sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. Your goal is to correct the going bad and bring them back to good. The only way that you can do that is by coaching, by teaching them, by making them better, taking us like your children. The example I gave you, remember, you need to give the kids the values of discipline. This is the same thing. Now is your best time to start managing your emotions and really start using them. With that, we conclude that, and I open the forum now because I would like to know what's in your mind. I mean, I've been talking for an hour, and I would love to hear what you have in mind. Let me first stop the chair so we can see each other. Very well. Very interesting. What do you think about this class? Anyone wants to begin thinking or saying anything about this class? Remember what I said. I wanted, one of the secrets a leader has is constantly ask for feedback. Give me your feedback. I really need to know. Gary?
Well, as you know, I have a talent of sizing up a situation, and I typically encourage everyone else to try to solve the issue, whatever it is, and I really only intervene when I absolutely think it's necessary. But you've seen that intervention. You know what happens.
I can testify, honest of God, that he is that way. And he does it. He did it with me one time. He woke in my office and I was in a panic mode. And he was very calm. And he's calm. You know, he led me at that time because that calm that Gary had, no, wait a minute. We need to think this over and we need to do this. It brought me down completely. And I said, my God, what a talented person I have in front of me. So yes, he does. He does. He diffuses and let people develop. And he develops people. Actually, you know, I've seen him let the other people express themselves. He empowered his fellow workers. He empowered a lot of people. And thank you for that, Gary. You're being an example to us all the time. So,
Well, I appreciate that, Rick. You have a lot of similar traits. Yeah.
Quick flat. Anybody else have a feedback? Pastor Djalma, you have anything to say about it?
I think Kristen was about to say something, but then
your mic is no, his mic is your microphone connected, Pastor?
Sim, agora consegui abrir aqui o...
No, go ahead. We all understand Portuguese, don't worry.
Então, eu treinei um pouco e aprendi alguma coisa, mas não o suficiente para formular algumas perguntas, mas consegui desenvolver um pouquinho. Estou fazendo aulas de inglês e peguei alguma coisa, né, mais ou menos assim, não consegui me aprofundar muito, mas foi aquilo que consegui pegar foi uma experiência boa. Estou em treinamento, né? Estou fazendo várias aulas e estou me aperfeiçoando.
Especially when it comes to discipline others, you know. Yeah, I would
imagine, espanhol.
Yeah, I would imagine that you, as a pastor, you have to lead very careful the members of your congregation, and listen, I didn't want to say it this way, but I was a pastor for 12 years. And I know what it is to lead 800 families. It becomes a very, very, strong situation. I feel for that because leading with followers that are common families, regular families with their everyday issues, is a very challenging situation to anybody that is leading the pack. It is really tough. And it goes from end to end. I remember myself when I first got to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was an engineer working for the European Space Agency. I went to do some practices in Abu Dhabi, and my first pastor was a Portuguese pastor. And him and I communicate brilliantly. I mean, don't ask me to talk Portuguese, but I tell you what, I was able to talk to him. Somehow the power of the Holy Spirit got me hooked, and we talked. I tell you what, I really commend you for what you're doing, Pastor. Thank you so much for being my mentor, for being my friend. I really appreciate that. What is my queen said? Ah, there she is. Christine, what are you thinking?
No, I thought it was great. I was just thinking to myself that they should have you teach my business classes, because you literally wrapped up 11 weeks of what we've done over the past several months in an hour. So like everything that you touched on, we've been working on for the past 11 weeks. So, practicing humbleness as a leader, setting clear expectations, clarity, organizational culture, transformational leadership. You essentially wrapped it all up in an hour. So
In a nutshell.
So I thought it was amazing. Especially the part where you spoke of being able to facilitate leadership without even actually being there. And I would say that that's an area of opportunity for me, and something that I'm actively working on just to become better at, and really stepping back and allowing people to make mistakes, because that's how they learn. And then that's how they're able to trust that I can be there to advocate for them if necessary. So I think that's so huge. I was actually reading an article about the Johnsonville Brought company, where the CEO and the founder, he was in charge of every aspect of the business, and they were doing well, but they didn't really start to do better until he stepped back and allowed his employees to really kind of take ownership of each of their responsibilities. And, now it's a, multi-million, billion-dollar company, but that's just from him making that pivot, and leading through others, and not necessarily saying I have to be the face of it. So I thought it was great. I definitely thought it was great.
We have a crisis, and thank you for your feedback. We have a crisis today in our society when it comes to leadership. That you see happening in front of you. Thousands of people being fired in one day. Signs of wrong leadership is always there. Is always opportunity for people to change that anarchy way to be. But one of the most important things is that, I would imagine that kind of leader cannot sleep well, because he's always thinking about somebody doing something wrong. Because, if you don't trust your people, and you haven't even known them just yet, what happened to tweet is unheard. Twitter has done something that resembles an anarchy leadership style, and it is here and there. It's not for me to judge, but I think that we can be better than that, and I think that may take time, and we may have to, I don't know, I challenge myself. I would love to be his coach, But really, I think that you're right on point on that. The sign of a leader successful career is when you really have a group of people working for you, and you can very peaceful take 2 weeks vacation and be in the Bahamas in the sand, relaxing, knowing clearly enough that the group is well, and what you have groomed will never let you down. And you can bet in your mind that when you arrive, everything will be reported to you, because they recognize when a leader comes back home. So this is important, as well as your importance of listening to your feedback, Christine. Thank you so much. It's really very important for the group, very important for my company, for all of us, when you give us a side of what's going on in the other side of the world. You know, I think 11 weeks is a lot, but again, our time is very condensed to about an hour. So I try to be as effective as possible by giving you the 4 steps right to the point. I remember it took a while, huh? Because my presentation used to be 2.5 hours. So now I'm working on condensing them to give you the best of it, and to avoid repetitions, and to just go to the goal, describe what the ideas are, and be ready to tackle any of them in the event one of you have a question. So thank you, Christine, for your feedback. And
no problem. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Carlos, do you have any feedback for us? Of course, everybody knows that Carlos is our senior consultant back there in South America. And last month we had, while I was in Peru, a fantastic workshop up there. We have nearly 24 people coming in. Some of them were from the business environment. Some of them were from, managing, executive managers. It was really a very good one. We are planning to do this one in Spanish at the end of this month, probably beginning of next month, and do the same thing for our Hispanic communities. Not only there, we have a lot of communities, Hispanic communities here in the United States, that also want to know about that, and of course, our American leaders, you guys are showing me how responsible you are by attending these classes, because you want to grow, you want to continue growing, and you don't want to just, stop right there. It's a dynamic thing, remember, that you need to wait until I announce the 3rd class. Don't. We're done for the year. We will not convene until January, because I have a podcast that I'm working on it right now, maybe a leadership podcast. But with December, the Spanish presentation will be the last one of the year. And then we'll prepare for the following year with new and exciting things and new and exciting topics. Okay. The new role of leadership was good in Spanish, and it was good in English. But this one is better. And then the next one will be better, and we'll keep on growing. You and I will continue growing to give leaders the opportunity to see, what am I doing wrong? Or better yet, what can I do better? Okay. If there's nobody else to talk about this, I want to thank you, all of you, for participating and being faithful participants of our workshops. I think that the investment that we do making these presentations is it doesn't have no price, just to contact and touch leaders like you guys. Thank you very much. And with that, until next time, good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good evening. Enjoy Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Don't eat too much turkey, Gary. Promise me that.
Bye, everyone.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye now.